better not be playing Barun Yunman again.
No, it's me, Ricky.
Ricky, you deadbeat. Disney gonna sue if they find you playing this in my game room again.
I'm sorry, SG. Winnie caught me, and now it's banned from the house.
And for good reason. You're a mouse. That's like playing mouse porn. Is that a thing?
It's a thing.
You're looking pretty haggard these days, Rick. You really need to stop.
Ricky. Oh, Ricky.
Oh no! Help me, SJ. I gotta hide.
Damn it. Quick, in the bathroom.
Oh no! Oh no! Oh no!
Ricky. Oh, Ricky.
Oh my god, you can do a mini voice? Of course, I was an unofficial Mouseketeer, and the ladies loved it.
Ooh, oh.
Ugh, was that Mickey here again? No, that's Ricky, his deadbeat uncle. Legal said it's best we could do. What's he doing in there? You know what? I don't want to know. No, it's not like that. I left my PSP in there. He's probably just playing this again. Probably. Oh, what? The mouse porn? You're gonna get sued. Don't I know it. Alright. So what are we playing this week? Glad you asked, because we're playing the weirdest, most ridiculous, unexplainable shmups ever made. And since we're already on this game, let's start with what Ricky's playing. Hey, what do you get when you have furry balls in your hand? Please, God, don't tell me. Mickey's undivided attention. Damn it, I knew it. Let's get this video started before we really do get sued. If there was ever a game that deserved the crown of Meanwhile in Japan, Soreyuke Borunyunman is the crowning achievement. What's it about? So, you're a cat, and you're super hungry and craving cans of tuna. You put on a pair of your human owner's tarantarants and transform into a humanoid super cat girl, an underage, jailbait magnet humanoid super cat girl that'd probably get you arrested in most countries. Not in Japan though, and hopefully not on YouTube. You fly through a world of mice, wreaking havoc and pillaging tuna, looking to get your fill. Only the bosses are also humanoid versions of mice. And no, not the Disney kind. As you battle and defeat each of the bosses, you get a pervy cutscene of their defeat in various, concupiscent positions. Also, what is that? This is when you make sure you've locked your bedroom door, as it's bad enough getting caught owning this king, let alone explaining what the hell it is you're playing to the missus. Or maybe you are the missus, in which case, game on, sister. My favorite boss that gave me a good laugh was the Stage 3 Dominatrix, looking horny as ever, shooting giant laser beams from the lady garden. And this one actually looks old enough to keep from getting arrested, unlike some of the others. But I'd be remiss to not mention that underneath the weird and pervy exterior lies a surprisingly well-made and deep shmup when it comes to scoring. No, damn it Mickey, not that kind of scoring. Pay attention. It's a pretty typical bullet hell, sure, with an added grazing mechanic that slows down the game and powers up your shot in the process. So you're rewarded for playing close to enemy bullets, and your hitbox becomes visible when in slow motion, which is a nice touch. Holding down your shot gives you a power beam, and point blanking increases your damage. You score by keeping your medal chain throughout the stages, and they'll suction toward you if you're close enough. You can also turn everything on the screen into medals by bombing, even creating medals out of thin air when you do. You get a bomb stock and can pick up more during the game, and every time you use a bomb in a single life, the animation changes, getting pervier and pervier, increasing in degrees of, perviness. So now, aside from score, you have even more motivation to improve and see your pussy in escalating forms of undress. Oh yes, only in Japan, folks. The game also has some excellent voiced music tracks all around, as long as you're keen on the anime vibe. Oh, and I'd be remiss not to mention that this PSP version is the cleaned up port, compared to the practically pornographic original PC version. Too much to show on this channel anyway, and I'm sure that the more depraved of you have already hit Google to look it up anyway. Either way, may want to check outside your window for that surveillance van again. Yeah, they're still there. Always watching. The following video is rated R. So if you're watching with the kiddos, put them to bed. You're about to see what you cannot unsee. The weirdest episode of Shmups ever. You've been warned. Cho Aniki, the ultimate, strongest, most invincible man in the Milky Way, is an epic train wreck. It's completely insane, with a whole lot of membrane. So intentionally bad that you just can't look away. And I mean that in a good way. Not every game or movie is high art, and this Cho Aniki is not that. It's an absurd, poke my eyes out with a pitchfork before I can't unsee what I just saw game. I'd heard that if you know Japanese, the game makes even less sense, and I believe it. It's the Kung Pao, Enter the Fist of video games. You know, the movie where he fights an actual cow, Matrix style, then gets squirted with milk. It's like that. Only with buff dudes in thongs, and none of it makes any sense. I'm not even sure if they ever set out to make a good game, just a spectacle that keeps trying to top itself at every turn. But you can tell, they were having way too much fun the entire time. When you think of weird games, as in, what the hell did I just see? The Cho Aniki series is the first to come to mind. 2 shooters on the PC Engine that were extremely odd, but also surprisingly cool, and garnered a reputation. Average but fun, with an unforgettable presentation that everyone should play at some point for the experience. The original game is even on the PC Engine Mini, but what makes this sequel extra creepy are the digitized realistic graphics instead of pixel art. So they used real people grafted to all manner of debauchery in a merciless regurgitation of homoerotic and absurd imagery. Hey, do you see his face? We're here to pump you up. Oh, look at that, and he likes it too. Ew, is that his gentleman sausage? He love you long time. Long time. Oh, he just got fisted. The game is like pumping iron and Caligula had a baby. Then the baby had diarrhea and you threw it in a blender. Look at these dudes on stage 2 doing chin-ups hanging from literal crotch rockets with mushroom head tips. Then you got Petunia over here, gliding along with his rubber swan. Cho Aniki is so bad, it's good, and you can't stop. And you know there's more. Oh yeah, and the creepy bald dude who gives you a shit-eating grin to announce the boss. He looks like he just ripped his Speedos off and wants to know what you think. YMCA. I don't even know. Oh, is that what it means when you say you have a boat anchor? Are those purple eggplant jellyfish? Oh, I get it. It's date night under the sea. And it's endless. Dudes pile driving and 69ing each other. Human torsos grafted to seagulls. Factories spewing body parts while masses of flesh and brain ooze along the ground. And then there's this dude presenting his pointy ass just to rip one in your direction. Can you imagine the live model having to pose for this shot? Oh, and this giant bloke floating in space with turrets poking from his ass and crusty feet dangling. And of course, some kind of metallic member to dismantle. None of it makes any sense, and it's glorious. The problem is the solid gameplay of the originals is mostly gone. It's all spectacle now. It's not complete kusoge, I guess, but it's hard to tell how much of it's on purpose versus just terrible. Some bosses take a million hits and forever to kill. There's all kinds of exploits, and it's completely unbalanced. It's also super long, like over a dozen stages. Dozen stages of this fever dream insanity. If you're looking for a game to make you feel inadequate after playing it for all the wrong reasons, then Cho Aniki on Saturn or PS1 is for you. Aside from the wild design, one redeeming factor is the music and sound effects, which is actually quite good. I even found myself bumping along to some of the tracks, with all kinds of grunts, huffs and puffs to punctuate the beat. And if you come into this game expecting a spectacle, but somewhat low expectations in the gameplay, you may actually have a good time of it. Or at least for a while, as the game gets rock hard. Pun intended. Or maybe it's just me, because I'm a sicko.
Ha! I knew it! Oh, you perv.
I meant had a good time with it, not got hard from it. You know what? Never mind.
Oh. Ugh, what's that smell?
I think it's Dookie.
Ooh.
What did you feed him when he was here? Oh, I didn't, but judging by the leftovers, I think it was cuttlefish and asparagus. Ew! What does any of this have to do with the next game? Toilet Kids on the PC Engine. Come on, you knew it was coming. Watch this one with a turtle head poking out, for extra credit.
What's that smell?
The PC Engine is no stranger to weird games, and Toilet Kids takes the brown burrito. You wake up middle of the night with the urge to dump a stump and head over to the crapper. Pull down your chonies and start to park some bark. But instead of dropping a deuce, you get shot into the air and take a dive into the mud bowl. And you're transported into a world of turd, where you gotta pinch that loaf and mud bomb your way back home. Talk about a crappy deal. So it's time to hit pay dirt and punish the porcelain through 4 long stages of squatty potties, asapotami, flying cock and balls, and prolapsed anuses. You battle both airborne and ground-based enemies, so it's like Xevious, only shittier. You got deer squeezing the cheese, gorillas flinging fudge pops, barking spiders, turd tulls blowing mud, get it? And Nemo liberating the brown trout, which if you ever owned a fish, know that's exactly how they curl some pipe. Even the bosses are making room for lunch while trying to keep you from taking the Browns to the Super Bowl. A buttcopter slopping bum slugs. The USS Brownfish busting a grumpy with a shit-eating grin. And the Maharaja Snuffleupagus doing the royal squat. Oh, and butt crabs. No, that doesn't sound pleasant at all. Somewhere along the line, you'll imagine what this place must smell like. right before they start breaking wind in your direction with green floaters. The mechanics are simple: shoot, bomb, and hold down shot for a burst attack. You can take a few hits before it's game over, and bomb the golden turds to pick up extra hit points. All in all, Toilet Kids is a very average shooter, maybe not worth praying to the porcelain god over, but not as crappy as you'd expect. You can even make it extra fun by playing it while pinching a loaf for an added sense of urgency, and giving you meaning to making underwear sculptures. While perusing the credits, it blew my mind to see T's music did the chiptunes. No wonder they were surprisingly catchy. But really, how did the blokes composing Lords of Thunder end up having to churn the dookie butter for this game? Maybe they had to work their way up the poop chain before getting to release the Kraken. At the end of your journey, the Buddha of Booty descends, and it's the final battle to drop the kids off at the pool and exact revenge for the brown bomber. Unloose the caboose and murder the brown snake until the mighty Pantsu is no more. I'm not sure what this dude says at the end, but I've been pinching a loaf since I got here, and it's time to go fill that peanut butter jar before I grow a tail. The barbarians are at the gate, and my underwear is in question. So let's launch that butt shuttle and get bacon. I gotta see a man about a horse before I craft a fudge pop. Make like Snoop and drop it like it's hot. So log an entry for Toilet Kids. A decent game for the crapper, while you're stuck there anyway, waiting to sink the Bismarck.
The next game is so outrageous that a bunch of parts had to be censored for YouTube, and I spent literally hours doing it. It's artistically genius, mixing body horror with HR Giger-esque designs to craft something so demented that you'll be questioning your own sanity for even playing it. But it's also a really cool game.
Galshell 2 is the snuff film of shmups. It's like Human Centipede in video game form, only thankfully without the excrement. As that, oh yes, that would be a step too far. The only bodily fluids in Galshell are the red kind. It's a feast for the eyes. That is, if you consider bubonic plague-infested rat roast a feast. Now don't get me wrong, the art design is amazing, as long as you enjoy gruesome, depraved, gut-churning imagery that'd make Pinhead blush. It uses sexual imagery in disturbing ways, but there's nothing remotely arousing about it. At least not unless you're the type of sicko that watches Hostel with a bottle of Jerkins and a box of Kleenex. All this artwork is courtesy of developer Akiragoya, known for his bloody and macabre game design that's as cool as it is sickening. From his earlier, more traditional Galshell games to his recent Yakuga releases, Akiragoya has a style all his own. His more mainstream and polished release, Steel Vampire, which I featured last week in my new Shmups in 2021 video, is the most refined. But Galshell 2 takes the rancid taco when it comes to the most insane visuals you may ever see in a game, let alone a shmup. While worming my way through what's now affectionately called the boob maze, essentially walls of deformed flesh and nightmarish body parts trying to eat you, it really put into perspective how completely asinine societal values are in terms of what we deem as pornographic content needing censorship. Here I am editing this video, having to put little black bars to cover all the cleavage and not anger the YouTube gods, when they're clearly the least disturbing thing in this maze of mammaries. I'm slaving away covering nipples to meet the ad-friendly requirement, but the sea of violent horror and deformity, oh yeah, perfectly alright. So you know what, damn it? Enough is enough. If we can glorify and celebrate violence, then we can display our boobs, fearless and proud. No more black bars.
Oh boy, here we go. Finally some action.
For your viewing pleasure, the biggest boob around.
You're such a prick.
What? It's not everything you thought it would be? To get serious for a minute, Galshell 2 is one heck of a weird but really cool game. It has the kind of stage art and boss design that keeps you playing to see what depravity you'll find next. And it's got the gameplay chops to back it up, playing very similar to Steel Vampire. Your ship sprite is huge, and the idea is to speed kill enemies before too many get a chance to fill the screen with bullets. Your satellites can be locked in place with the option button and is a critical strategy for success, allowing you to focus your fire where it needs to go. The closer you are to enemies, the faster your shot and the more damage you do, allowing you to kamikaze whenever it's active. It's manically paced, where you better learn your routes and where the next enemy is incoming to take them out. The bosses especially are spectacular monstrosities that could easily feature in a AAA release or work of horror. A level of creativity and art design rarely seen, let alone in a free game. It's weird as all hell, but it's also extremely cool and a game that I enjoyed playing the most this week. So if you're interested, check out my best free Shmups video, where I have a link to the wiki where you can download this game. Because aside from being gruesome, it's also rad as hell.
As weird as these last few games were, at least they had a clear purpose. Like the developer had a vision and they wanted to see it through. But some games completely defy explanation. To even try to verbalize the absurdity is to detract from that priceless moment of experiencing it for the first time in complete awe of what you just saw. Games that are so appallingly bad that I hesitate to even show them.
Oh, come on. You can't say that and not show it.
No, I just don't think you're ready for this, Kusoge.
I am ready.
You want answers?
I want the spoof.
You can't handle the spoof!
ちょっと嗅ぎたいんでしょ
No, I don't like.
嗅ぎなさいプリップリそうねください今度は私ゴム
No, I don't like.
No, I don't like.
行くぜ行くぜ行くぜ行くぜ
我爱北京天安门，天安门上太阳升。我爱北京天安门，天安门上太阳升。我爱北京天安门，天安门上太阳升。我爱北京天安门，天安门上太阳升。我爱北京天安门，天安门上太阳升。我爱北京天安门，天安门上太阳升。
Oh God, make it stop that music. No more.
As you wish. No more music.
Aren't there any normal weird games?
Alright, fine. I probably tortured you enough. Not all weird games are Kusoge. Some are actually quite good.
Like Galshell 2 that I showed earlier, and also a new game by Akiragoya that's in development called Angel at Dusk. Same sick art design, but now in a more bullet hell form. Something to keep your eyes on if you love his work. Or how about the ever-popular Death Smile series, especially Part 2 with some really weird set pieces and bosses. Not to mention the big bad is a demented Satan Claus. Then you've got normal games, like the awesome Blazing Star on Neo Geo, but with one of the nastiest, creepy final bosses in all of video games. A fetal monstrosity that morphs its body parts into weapons, and then into a pulsating organic ship with a baby head, all while you battle this abortion inside the undulating walls of its womb. Or how about Thunder Force 6 on the PS2? Another normal game with a super weird final encounter. Zombie Nation on NES is actually a really cool game too, where you play as a severed zombie head and bomb your way through the USA. Why? Because apparently an alien force has taken control of the citizens. So it's perfectly alright to decimate the infrastructure and indiscriminately eviscerate the populace. You've got cuter fare like Hana Takadaka on PC Engine, an excellent and unusual shooter with a ridiculous final boss of a dude in a tanuki suit, sporting a pretty large sack of walnuts. Or Sexy Parodius with another tanuki battle and a nutsack that looks like it's been baked in a microwave. What is it with tanuki and nutsack? You also have more obscure but still really weird and cool games, like the deeply bizarre yet brilliant Transcend Pain for Windows, or Il Velo, developed by former Milestone company staff, that was an actual arcade game, then ported to the Wii and Xbox 360. It's not that obscure really, as it's even getting a Switch port soon. Have you heard of Shoot One Up by Mommy's Best Games? If you watch South Park, you might recognize this scene that they used as a backdrop from the Wilzix episode. Poor Wilzix. You can play this one co-op, and while weird, it's safe for work and the kiddos. You a fan of the Mega Drive? How about Wings of War? This game has some killer weird stages and bosses, even more impressive for its time. You've got other major release games, like Steam Hearts on PC Engine and Saturn, with straight up hentai in the cutscenes. And if I were to show other hentai-oriented shmups that I saw this week, you'd just be looking at a completely blurred screen, and I'd probably be looking at demonetization. So I'll stop here before we get into trouble, and leave the rest up to your imagination.